Kirsten Jesperson, Vice President of Mile High Employment Solutions.
Mile High Employment Solutions, yet you have a 701 cell phone and a Richardson, North Dakota address, which is out in the Bakken, and a 720 cell phone. Sorry, a 70. Okay, Mile High, there's a Denver and then a North Dakota. So talk to me about your company and you a little bit on how you have both Colorado roots and North Dakota, I guess, present.
Yeah, absolutely. So our company actually started down in Denver about 35 years ago. We're a family-owned and operated direct hire agency out there. I've actually been recruiting in the industry for about 10 years, and about 2 years ago, I decided to make the jump and relocate to North Dakota and establish an office here in the area. We've had a large presence in the Bakken previously, but now we've really developed more of a local footprint, and we're recruiting a lot more for local companies in the area. So we partner with several different companies, typically across the Rocky Mountain region, to help them attract and retain top-level talent for some of their hard-to-fill positions. One of the things that we deal with a lot in North Dakota is obviously the low unemployment rate, the high number of positions that need to be filled in the area, and some of the challenges that the companies are facing here, whether it be conditions or housing or just simply not being able to attract enough candidates to be able to fill those positions. So we partner with them to help streamline some of those processes and really help drive the candidates to these positions.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Governor Burgum has been driving around the state and flying around the state and walking around the state and biking around the state talking about how much, we have all these jobs and done a very good job of that. But those jobs don't seem to be being filled. And at least at the pace that is satisfactory to, different people. And you're kind of in the middle of it there because your job is to, get people found and that sort of thing. Are you hearing anything back as why those jobs are not being filled as much as, because, the governor, he is presenting a lot of energy and enthusiasm. And you would think that would, equate to a quick, I guess, absorption and that sort of thing of the jobs. Is it North Dakota? Is the wages? Is it training? I know a lot of these jobs require new training and that sort of things, but do you understand the question, I guess? I'm not trying to be flippant or controversial. I'm looking for what's going on.
Well, I think a lot of the struggles, again, obviously we are dealing with some of the lowest unemployment rates in this country right now. National average is about 3.5%. North Dakota is sitting around 2.5. Now, that being said, obviously we have a very tight pool that we're trying to pull from. Additionally, we're trying to pull people that are going to be going to somewhat remote areas. So when you're looking at the challenges of housing, again, of the conditions that these candidates are working in, cost of housing, is obviously starting to increase in some of these areas as well. But one of the things that I think does play a role in it is the wages, like you said. I think people are still searching for those oil field wages, back in the boom days. And the industry has changed. There's been such a significant shift in the industry. A lot of companies would really prefer to be able to hire local talent, but the long and short of it is that local talent sometimes doesn't exist. So we really are casting, a very broad net across the entire Rocky Mountain region to try to attract people to coming to this area. Now, on the backside of it, a lot of these companies have really started to develop programs to assist with the relocation, of these candidates and their families. What kind of resources can we give them, to establish their children in the school systems? What kind of resources can we provide to significant others to help them get established in the area? And I think as they start to focus a little bit more on, making a good fit for these candidates as far as not so much just the job itself, but what their life is going to look like when they get to North Dakota. I think that's really where some of these companies have shifted their focus of, what do we need to do to attract and retain these people once they get here. Again, you have high turnover rates in the industry as a whole because you have people that will come to work in the oil field. They get here and they're not prepared for the conditions that they're dealing with, so they'll in turn go back home. I think that's one thing that we struggle with more here in North Dakota than we do in a lot of other regions that we deal with.
How about in Colorado? Obviously, they've gone through some political issues, and Mile High, it's right in the name, and you're from that area. So are you finding different challenges there, or are there, is it not really impacting you in that way as a recruiter?
I would say we are absolutely facing different challenges down there, just with all of the regulations that are coming down the pipeline. More restrictions in the industry is making it harder for companies to operate in that basin. We've actually been experiencing a lot of client companies that have, either looked at pulling resources out of Colorado and moving into other basins. Other companies that they're just going to hit it as hard as they can between now and, hopefully the end of the year, and get as many permits in place as they can before some of these regulations start coming down on them.
All right.
It's definitely posed a challenge because, again, Colorado in itself is an interesting area just with the influx of people that have moved to that area in general, in the industry out there. It's not, I wouldn't say, I guess I would say long and short of it is it's a lot slower than it was just due to these restrictions and regulations that they're imposing.
So let's get to some of the good news that's going on, because there are people that are still working, and North Dakota is still putting out 1.2, 1.3 million barrels a day. Texas is putting out, their 3 million plus barrels, and Weld County seems to still be, producing some stuff in Colorado. So, have you got some positions that you'd like to maybe highlight, maybe give us 2-3 different positions that your firm is looking for, and, give the audience a sample of what is out there. I mean, because we keep hearing about these jobs, but at the same time, again, I go back to, boy, it seems they'd be lapped up. So let's, give these dogs a bone out there and something nice and meaty and juicy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say the biggest need that we have here in North Dakota, in Colorado, whatever basin I'm working in, my biggest need is going to be in CDL drivers, whether it's to haul water, to haul crude, winch truck drivers. We also deal with a lot of service companies, so cement operators, frac operators. I deal with more specialty positions such as DOT specialists, HSE. So we have a very diverse need for employees. Same thing goes for Colorado. I have skilled trades, welding positions, mechanic positions, and again, a huge need for CDL drivers, and additionally down to more labor positions, roustabouts, riggers, swampers. So those positions that don't necessarily require a ton of industry experience, that is more of a ground level opportunity for somebody who's really looking to get into the industry. So those entry level positions are out there. They can be harder to come by. A lot of companies are requiring some sort of oil field experience, when it comes to these CDL positions or the more specialty positions. But like I said, the entry level positions are there. It just takes, again, finding the companies that are going through those growth phases right now. And it's very interesting to me to see, coming out of the first of the year, the amount of growth that some of the clients that I deal with are projecting for this year. So I do think it's going to be a very good year for the industry. I think we're going to see positive, increases throughout production. And again, as we start to see that, we require the people to be able to support that work. So there's definitely opportunity available out there. And, we work just as diligently with our candidates to match them with a position that's going to be in the best interest of them and their family, to get them into something that will be long-term and provide that stability.
You mentioned CDL is a need, and I've heard that for the last 3-4 years, and that doesn't seem to go away.
No.
Are there any other certifications that you're seeing pop up? I mean, because we've had a slew of safety regulations and new regulations that have came across the industry, whether it be from an environmental standpoint to an OSHA standpoint to, whatever it might be. Is there anything that you're seeing that, hey, if you get certified in this, boy, that's the next CDL?
I would say, I mean, I've seen obviously with the certifications through, PEC, H2S, SafeLand, some of those training courses that, people can go out and get on their own, or, you get in with a company that will put you through those training courses on your own or on their own as well. Those are becoming very important in this industry. Again, the CDL is going to be a top priority for a lot of these positions just due to the equipment that they're moving out to some of these locations. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a, full-blown CDL driving position, but they're still requiring that just due to the equipment that they're moving around. And I think, again, at one point in this industry, there were companies out there that were bringing people in that didn't have CDLs, and they were putting them, through schools in order to obtain those. And again, that's just one of those places where the industry has shifted. We don't find that very often anymore. So again, there's been programs through, especially with veterans through the VA, to help people go and obtain their CDL through schools. A lot of different incentives for people to go out and get those licenses to be able to open up these opportunities to them. But again, on the safety side, I think it's always beneficial to look at PEC, H2S, SafeLand. Those are always going to be required by these oil field companies.
So if somebody's listening to this right now, or somebody sees it on social media and they're thinking about, either going to get a job in the industry or switch companies or something like that, how does that work for somebody who's never done that before? Because, we've had a couple generations where they didn't hire, and now there's this huge crew shift going. I mean, 70% of the industries are going to be retired by 2022, 2023. So you guys are going to be busy for the next couple of years, whether you like it or not. And
which is a good thing. We'll take it.
Well, totally. So everything changes, I mean, like I've bought a drink before, and she texted me, "Thank you." So kids are different today. People are different today. Do people start with an app? Do they go to the website? Do they pick up the phone and even call you? I mean, or do you just work with companies only, and you headhunt and reach out to people? You know what I mean? Do you get the question?
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. So they can absolutely call us at our office here. We do have a website as well that they can go on to. I would say calling directly is going to be the fastest way to get everything rolling. We have a staff of recruiters here in North Dakota, as well as out of our Denver location. We've got a staff of about 10 down in Denver that focus mainly on the Colorado region and Wyoming, and then North Dakota, I focus North Dakota, Wyoming, Utah primarily, but we do have a little bit of reach down south as well. But yeah, I would say the best way to get the process started would be to give us a call, talk with one of our recruiters, tell them a little bit about what you're looking for and what experience you bring to the table. And we can determine from there, what the best option would be, or give recommendations as far as what you would need to do to be able to put yourself in a position where you qualify for the positions. I do have additional resources that I provide to candidates. Even if we are unable to place them in one of our positions, we can provide resources to at least put them in the right direction of what they need to do.
And one final question, I guess, before we let you get on with your day and hire and get people into new jobs. What are the top three needs, I guess? You mentioned CDL, so obviously that would be one. But for people listening, we live in such a bullet point, soundbite society. What are the top three needs right now that your companies are looking for?
So my top three needs currently, I have a huge need for CDL water haulers. That is going to be, I would say, 70% of the positions that I'm hiring for here in North Dakota are tanker drivers to haul fresh in production. I have a huge need for diesel mechanics, bumper to bumper, ranging from fleet mechanics to, service mechanics that are dealing with the oil field equipment, and then additionally HSE and DOT. Those are going to be my three main focuses, I would say right now, that we have a huge need for. Anyone interested in these positions can give us a call at 701-207-0556 or visit our website at www.mhemployment.com. crude.com.